2018. It is 9 o'clock a.m. I've asked Miss Tracy Ballard if she would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it again. Good morning, Commissioner Kanda.
Good morning, everybody.
How's things in Louisiana?
They're wet. It's been raining since Christmas down here.
Oh my gosh.
Say hello to my wife, my daughter. She's down there.
Just a few light snow flurries here today. Supposed to get 6 to 8 inches, I understand.
Yeah, it's what I've been watching the weather, and it looked like it's going to get hammered up there, but we need the snow.
Yeah, exactly. Madam Secretary, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Flower.
Present.
Commissioner Kanda.
Present.
Commissioner Prince.
Present.
Attorney Clint Smith.
Present.
And Clerk to the Board Kelly Camper present.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Gentlemen, any amendments to the agenda?
I would like to recommend that we, since we have 2 trash companies now, I'd like to recommend that we put out a bid package to both of them for the county's
Okay.
refuse service.
Excellent point. It's already been done.
Okay, well, never mind then.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe we've already received bids back from both.
Well, we got a bid back, I know, from PVRO. I saw the prices that Oak has, but they weren't apples and apples, and I was thinking maybe we ought to put a list of, give us your price for these different items so we can compare. I looked at both of them,
Right.
and I wasn't sure I really understood what the 2 of them were.
Well, I think we have mostly 2-yard dumpsters, one at Road Bridge, one here, one at the sheriff's office. Do we have any others?
Is there one at the airport?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was only 2-yard dumpsters, and they both had quoted 2-yard dumpsters, correct?
Yes.
So,
I saw, it looked like Oak had a long list of things.
well, they did. They included a bunch of other stuff.
We do have porta potty services at the landfill from Oak, which PVRO does not.
Doesn't have that sort of.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
we're satisfied.
I didn't study them real hard because I kind of wanted to treat them as semi-sealed bids, but
I could send another email with specifics, like, because Oak
If we
did
only
say.
have the containers and both bid on that, then I think my concern is satisfied.
I thought they both provided prices for 2-yard dumpsters on a weekly service.
I'm fine then.
So I think that
Go with whoever.
takes care of the lion's share of our needs.
Yep.
Morning, Mr. John.
Morning.
You and I still on speaking terms?
Yes, we are.
Did you get my email?
Yes, I did.
Please accept my
All's good.
apologies. Okay, good.
All's good.
I misquoted a date and time for a meeting to Mr. John, and
I was there.
and you were there. One, two, three, four of us were there, but on a different day and time. I invited John to attend our CDOT CenturyLink meeting down at Bowling Alley, and I had a meeting the night before at 6:30, and I transposed that time to 6:30, and he wasn't very happy with me. But I'll hug him later. Maybe he'll be back on.
I don't know too.
Okay. Good morning, by the way. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Commissioner Kanda, any agenda amendments?
No changes.
Okay, nor do I. I've got an item I'll bring up under the commissioner items. I don't believe it needs to be on the agenda itself. So with that, we will move on to approval of the December 18th minutes.
I'll move that we approve the December 18th minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, sir. No, that's fine. I appreciate that. It's been moved and seconded to accept the minutes. Discussion. I do have some. I sent Mrs. Kemper an email. She has been out on vacation, so she may not have had a chance to see that this morning. We have an issue with the Justice Center Planning Grant paragraph. on page 2, third paragraph up from the bottom. The minutes say the county received a $40,000 underfunded courthouse grant from DOLA to be used for Justice Center planning. That's not accurate.
Okay.
It needs to say that we received a $40,000 grant from the underfunded courthouse grant, period. It's not DOLA.
It's not a DOLA grant. Okay.
And then we received $25,000 from DOLA.
Oh, that's right.
So that's
Okay.
probably where the
Yeah.
mix-up was. So with that,
So I can make that change.
okay. We can, I guess, well, I just don't care for the operation of approving this as it's not amended. We haven't amended it, so I think maybe we ought to just table this and approve it at our next meeting. It's my opinion.
Or if Kelly's fast, he could do it before the end of this one.
See a rush.
I was gonna say either when are we meeting next? The
8th.
Doesn't matter.
Or do you have a copy of this?
I do. Yeah,
You can just
but-
take that DOLA off.
yeah, I mean, I can do it,
Really, all we have to do is delete the words from DOLA.
but you don't sign it today anyway.
Yeah.
No, that's true. It's not going to be posted anyway. Or will
No.
you post it before I sign it or not?
Uh-uh.
Okay, so it doesn't matter. I move we table approve the minutes until January the 8th. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to table the approval of the December 28th meetings until December 18th minutes.
18?
Yes.
Oh,
No.
December 8th.
Yeah,
No,
December
sorry.
18th minutes until January 8th. Discussion on the motion to table. Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, sorry. Motion, or the motion to table carries. Thank you, Kelly, I appreciate that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
if I may, you have a motion to approve standing.
yes, but the table to motion overrides that.
So that just goes away.
Yeah, we have disposed of that motion using the motion to table. The motion was to approve the minutes, and I moved to table that motion.
I wasn't aware you could do that,
Yeah.
so. Okay,
Yeah, there's nothing to vote on once this motion's been tabled. Now we have nothing to vote on. The original motion goes with the motion to table, actually.
okay.
Yeah. Thank you, though.
I'll have to look at Roberts again.
I thought I could throw you that book. Yeah, and just for a little further explanation, if the motion to table carries, which it did, then that motion has been tabled, correct? As of the vote. As soon as the vote's taken, the motion is tabled. Therefore, the original motion has to go with that, because now what would we do to the main motion? Nothing. I mean, you either approve it or apply a subsidiary motion to it, which we did. We could approve it, fail it, or apply a subsidiary motion, and the subsidiary motion was the motion to table, so
Okay.
it carries. It doesn't die, but the original motion goes with the subsidiary motion to table.
Yeah, it's no big deal, I just didn't
Right.
want you to leave one
Yeah.
standing out there
No,
by
that's,
itself.
you're exactly. If it had failed, if my motion had failed, then we would continue to deal with the main motion, which was to adopt
Okay.
or approve the motions, but
Learn
good
something
point.
new every day.
Yeah. Audience introductions.
Jackie Hubis for the Sentinel.
Dallas Anderson, rural Custer County.
John Genovese, rural Custer County.
Dale Mullen, rural Custer County.
Wilson Jarvis, rural Custer County.
Tracy Ballard, Tribune.
Okay, welcome. Did you hear all that, Commissioner Kanda?
Got it all, and how does it sound on your end on the new phone?
Oh my gosh, this,
Sounds great.
whatever we call it, is amazing,
You're
yeah.
as good as if you're sitting here.
All right.
Actually, I think you look better than if you were sitting here. Couldn't
I feel a lot better about it.
Couldn't resist it. One of my New Year's resolutions, not to be a smart aleck, but we're not there yet, see, so,
That's tomorrow.
yeah.
So you gotta get it all in today.
Yeah, no, the sound is amazing, Bill. It's perfect. And I want to thank Miss Brenda for setting that up. We got wires strung from here to breakfast, but it works really well, so. Commissioner items, pardon?
How do we?
Oh, yeah, how do we sound on your end?
Very good. And as a matter of fact, I could hear the audience introductions.
Good, that's nice. That's an improvement over before, isn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't hear it at all
Yeah,
before.
good, okay. Commissioner Cannon, let's start with your items, please, if you don't mind.
Sure. Real quick, a couple main items. The airport construction is complete. Left a few things, one of which is the landscaping, which we can't do until spring anyway.
Right.
And the erosion control is complete. Looks good. We will be getting an invoice from Seifert, and once we do, I'll submit it Oct 6. Shouldn't be an issue. And then the other item is we're doing fine on the strategic plan. We've got 460 surveys completed. There's at least 20 hard copies that we've got to enter yet, and there's more to come. We've got Cheryl Trent will be in town on Thursday and Friday to interview a couple people in person, including Jimmy Little and Lynn Atterbury.
Okay. What are those dates?
Those are the Thursday and Friday.
3rd and 4th of January?
If that's Thursday, I don't have my calendar.
Yes. If Thursday's the 3rd of January.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm scheduled with her on that day.
Yeah,
Oh, are
Jay's scheduled as well.
Okay. As a business owner?
I would assume so.
Yeah, he's doing it as a business owner.
Okay. Do we need to meet with her as commissioners or no?
We don't have to unless you would like to. You can certainly talk with her. I have planned to.
Are you going to talk to her between now and then or no?
Yeah, I will be talking to her on the phone.
Yeah. I might send her an email and see if we can meet for lunch or something.
Yeah, that'd be fine. That'd be a good thing to do, Tom,
All right.
actually.
Okay. Let me make a note of that real quick. Okay, got it. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, and so the survey's coming along fine. We've got a couple ads. I don't know if you've noticed them in the paper announcing the meeting times. And those ads are going to continue to run until the latest that we've got to turn in surveys will be the 3rd week in January. And those are doing well, getting a lot of good input. And also, there's a lot of chatter on the Facebook pages and that kind of thing. I want Cheryl to take a look at how we gather up some information that's informally being tossed around, which has been some good stuff. So we'll see how that plays out. And other than that, I'll be driving back on the day after the 1st, as soon as I feel good enough to get up and do it.
Okay. All right, sir. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Commissioner Prince.
Well, I attended the Upper Arkansas Area Council of Government Board of Directors meeting.
Good.
It's a long all-day affair, but it's very well worthwhile. I also was a party to the CDOT discussion about what's going on and potential broadband or other avenues in the bowling alley. And that's really all I've done since our last meeting.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, our last meeting was on the 18th, so that afternoon I attended a CES meeting over in the Search and Rescue building. On the 19th, we hosted a Christmas party for the courthouse employees, so I attended that. Also on the 19th, I traveled down to the airport with Stephanie Wybara, our custodian, and one of the board members, Lynn Legree, met us down there, and we went through the whole airport building and talked about the cleaning and the schedule and all of that. So she's up to speed as far as cleaning down there. Also that evening I set up and attended a meeting in the courtroom for discussion about a pending application for a water augmentation plan from Upper Arkansas Water Conservancy District. I'll speak to that a little bit later in this report. So, and then on the 20th, I attended the airport board meeting down at the airport, obviously. And the 21st, I also attended the Road and Bridge Christmas party up at the Alpine Lodge. They did a great job and was well represented up there. So, and then other than today having our meeting, that's about what I have been up to. So that was my schedule. And then the item I wanted to discuss briefly, gentlemen, is I received, I think we all did, actually received a letter from the San Isabel Land Protection Trust from signed by Keith Hood as the vice president. I want to read that real quick, if you don't mind, for the record, and then I'd have a few comments to follow. So, dear Commissioners Flower, Kenda, and Prince, Board of Directors of San Isabel Land Protection Trust has learned that the Upper Arkansas Water Conservancy District, excuse me, is planning to submit a water augmentation proposal to the Arkansas River Basin Water Court before the end of 2018. This proposal includes augmentation measures for Custer County as well as for part of Fremont County. San Isabel Land Protection Trust advocates, plans, and implements diverse programs valued by landowners and communities for the long-term health of the land, the wildlife, and people of our area. Protecting existing wells and surface water rights in the Wet Mountain Valley is crucial to sustainable agriculture, wise growth, and conservation of the region. Development of an augmentation plan for our county needs to be based on input from citizens, municipalities, and organizations of Custer County. The UAWCD plan was developed without openly consulting our community. In keeping with our mission, we strongly urge the Custer County Board of County Commissioners to swiftly write to the directors and staff of the Upper Arkansas Water Conservancy District to request that Custer County be withdrawn for their augmentation proposal. Sincerely, Keith Hood, Vice President. As I reported earlier, Upper Ark did vote to submit a water aug plan for part of Custer County and part of the eastern portion of Fremont County. And so this letter obviously is in reference to that. So I had that meeting in the courtroom with primarily, I would guess, water users, mostly ranchers, just to discuss and try to learn more about augmentation plans and applicable water laws and that kind of thing, because I'll be the first to admit my knowledge of water laws in Colorado is very limited in the size and scope of the big picture. So I just asked them to help me understand both historically and currently what has been and could be done pertaining to this water aug plan. So as I understand it, and I don't know for a fact to date that that application has been made to the District 2 Water Court. I suspect that it has. I've asked our local water commissioner to keep me informed as soon as he finds out whether or not, but when that is filed, to let me know that, and he has agreed to do that. So I asked him, other than Upper Ark and himself as a water commissioner, who would automatically be notified of that filing in the District 2 Water Court, and he said no, it's not their responsibility to notify anybody, but as water commissioner, of course, he would be notified, and then they would notify the original applicants as well. So it's incumbent upon anyone else to pay attention to find out when that application's been made and what that application is actually for. I did receive communication from their general manager, Terry Skanga, in the form of an email, and I don't know, did he send that to you gentlemen or not? Okay, I got it.
No, he did not.
Okay, I got it late last week, and I was getting ready to leave town, so I just read it quickly and did not forward it. Really didn't even look to see who all he sent it to. Basically, I think I could read it to you, but I think the general gist of that email, and I will forward that to you today, was that I guess basically he just said that they were wanting to expand the blue line in Custer County, which it really outlines, delineates the area of the water augmentation plan, and that if we had any questions or concerns, he would be more than welcome for the leadership to meet with us in Salida. If the commissioners wanted to travel to Salida, they would be more than willing to meet with us. And I thought, wait a minute. Through special tax district, we pay membership dues to Upper Ark to the tune in 2018 of $47,000. And I thought, I wonder if that buys us the right to invite them to come down here if we have questions. But I did not respond to that email. I will, but I haven't yet. I just think that at some point we probably do need to request somebody from Upper Ark to come down, other than Mr. Senderhoff, who obviously lives here. I would like, and he did mention that their engineers or their attorneys would be happy to meet with us. So I think we can have a subsequent conversation about that. But my gut feeling is that I think Upper Ark kind of went around Custer County's back in submitting this application on their, which is certainly within their right as a water district to do that. It's not illegal. I just happen to agree with Keith Hood. I think it would have been nice to have a conversation with the citizenry of Custer County, certainly the leadership of Custer County, before they struck off and did that. I questioned him about that at the Upper Ark meeting, and he said they were going to follow the standard procedure for filing in water court, which did not include a big, long, drawn-out discussion with the citizenry. So that's what they chose to do. That's fine. I think it's up to us, and I believe, gentlemen, that it's incumbent upon the commissioners to take a leadership role here and decide, at least have a discussion and make a decision whether or not to write a position letter to Upper Ark. And so I don't know if that's something you want to have a discussion about today or you want to wait. If we don't do it today, I can tell you that I have intention to put that on the agenda on January the 8th.
Well, I have to agree, Tom, with Keith Hood, and it's whether it's illegal or not, it's underhanded to me. There's a lot of things we could do as commissioners that we would not ever think of not taking to the citizens of the county because we think we know better than they. And I have the same feeling with the water board. What do they know better than we do? So I agree. We need to get input and have input. I know we'll probably get a chance in court, but by that time it's OBE'd, I think. I think it's just sort of like a 1984 here, Big Brother. I don't like it.
Okay. Commissioner Prince, comments?
Absolutely agree with both of you. We try so hard to do everything as transparently as possible. We all work for the citizens of this community, including the water board, and I think it's imperative that the citizens have a right to input to what's going on. And I have a very strong distaste for this type of activity. And if the commissioner did it, I'd be screaming at us commissioners doing it too. So I suspect, since if this has already been submitted, maybe we could do it by consensus because we can't really vote on a motion that's not on the agenda, that we strongly word a letter with the three of us to the court telling them that we strongly oppose this and that we do not support it.
Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think, gentlemen, if it's all right with you, I would like to bring this to a formal vote on January 8th, so I will put it on the agenda. And with your consent, I would also attempt at drafting said letter so that we have something to look at. Doesn't mean we have to send what I write, but at least it would give us something to speak to specifically, if that's all right with you, gentlemen.
I think that'd be great. It needs to include the fact that if, it's one thing to do it, it's another thing to get an informed decision made, and we can't make an informed decision on how great that is without understanding the reasons why they want to do it and the reasons for it. So we need to make sure that we get that day in court, so to speak, that we understand why and the benefits and the drawbacks and all that before we can move forward.
Can I just make a suggestion? Mr. Chairman, would you consider sending maybe an email to them saying it is on our agenda, we will be taking a formal vote on it, so please don't make any decisions prior to hearing our input, something to that effect?
Yes, and that's a great point. Would you be comfortable with going so far as to say that we will be voting on a letter to oppose, or is that jumping the cart before the horse?
I think that's overstating.
Okay.
Because we haven't made that decision yet, but I think saying that we have concerns and we will make a vote based upon it, which may include asking you not to approve it.
So we don't have enough information to be for or against it. That's the point.
Well, we have enough information to know that they went behind our back, and I'm just going to say that in a public meeting because that's how I feel, that they hit it. Whether it was intentional or not, I don't know. I don't care, but I think the citizens, especially the people who use the water, our farmers, are so important, and the other major source of water use in our community must have input into this kind of decision.
I agree.
And it cannot be done behind our back.
They're certainly operating with the confines of the law. This process, and I don't agree with it, but statewide in water court, if you want to file an application, you do it. And then it is incumbent upon anybody that opposes that to literally write letters of opposition to the court. If that doesn't happen, then the judge that sits on that water court rules accordingly. So they're within the law. There's no question about that. But I'm not talking about the law, and I don't think either one of you gentlemen are either. We're talking about what's right and wrong and for the citizens of this county. So I will continue to research as I have been. Upper Ark has filed in water court in, if I quote you the date, it'll be wrong. So I'm going to say 5 or 6 years ago, the court received a lot of letters of opposition. I've got the list in a file, probably 60 letters of opposition from this county. And then the county commissioners wrote a letter to Upper Ark requesting them to withdraw that application, and subsequently they did withdraw that. So I think this is an attempt 5 years later to do that again, plus expand the blue line, which we probably need to have a discussion about what that even means. And the problem we get into here, and this is a little bit of the frustrating thing, and I've decided I'm just not going to play that game, is to say, well, there's nothing really black and white, because we can't predict what somebody's going to do in the future. Either landowners selling their water, Upper Ark buying their water, and then what they do with that water. It'd be easy to sit here and say, oh, I think they're going to buy the water and do this and that with it. Well, I can't really prove that. That's just conjecture. But I certainly have my instinctual feelings about the whole big picture. I mean, Upper Ark exists to protect water rights and to buy and sell water, so in the entire Upper Arkansas Basin. So I don't believe I've ever been lied to from Upper Ark. I can say that. That's for sure. I'm not sure that they're willing to share everything. So sometimes I think I don't get the entire truth of the matter either. But we'll move forward with that. I will work on drafting a letter. I can tell you, gentlemen, that I'll probably reach out to Vic Barnes, the chairman of the Planning Commission, because I think this is going to go through the Planning Commission as well. And I would assume we'd get some directive from them. Yes, ma'am.
You may want to reach out to Fremont County Commissioners, see what they think about it.
Good point. I've done that. I've talked to one of their county commissioners about this. He sits on the Upper Ark Conservation District Board. So maybe I should talk to some of the other commissioners as well down there. But it's a good point, yeah. And actually, I can't quote you. We could look at the minutes, but either the commissioner from Fremont County made the motion or seconded the motion. I know that because I was there to make application to the water court. Yes, sir.
Question, is Bob Senderhoff still on the water board?
He is on that water board and currently serving as a chair.
Oh, okay.
His current term expires in May,
So
but they don't have term limits
would
either.
it be proper to contact him about it too?
Yes, would, and I have. He supports the idea of moving forward with the water audit plan up here in Custer County. Yeah. Okay, gentlemen, thank you. I appreciate the extra time on the commissioner items. Anything else, Commissioner Kanda?
Negative.
Commissioner Prince?
No, sir.
We'll move on. Attorney items?
I attended that meeting that you talked about with the mostly ranchers and other interested individuals about the proposed water augmentation reach. And that was very, very informative for me, and I was really amazed at the depth of knowledge of the people that you had there and listened to them talk about it, because water law is not something I have any knowledge of at all. But
Hey, Clint?
yeah.
You bring up a good point. It involves more than just ranchers. It's everybody that has a well.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
There's the big hook right there.
Well, and the way that we talked about the aquifer, that so you start putting too many straws in it, you're going to sip it dry eventually. I mean, that was one of the terms that was used. And so it's not just the ranchers, but it's everybody that, gets water from up here. So it was very enlightening for me. On December 21st, I went to Stewart Title in Canyon City, delivered the paperwork in person, including the proposed deed that I had prepared for the sale of the 15 plus acres of the old gravel pit to the Big E Ranch. So I could, and they looked over the paperwork and then actually sent the deed itself to their home office to review it to be sure it met their requirements, and they notified me very quickly everything was fine. So we're all ready to go on that, and I think if you have the deed now, you've already voted to sign this as soon as we had all the paperwork in. So if you would like to go ahead and sign that deed, then the way I want to do it is to immediately notify Cecily Ketterer, the managing partner for Big E Ranch. She's in Dallas. Let her know that it's been signed and ready to be recorded. If she'll go ahead and wire the money either on the 2nd or the 3rd of this month, because we decided after talking to Donna Hobby that we wanted the revenue to come in for 2019 rather than 2018. So if that, she'll wire the money, and then I will have Kelly go ahead and actually record the deed, and we'll mail that to her, and the transaction will be complete. So if you have any questions on that, but I don't know if you have the deed there or
I do.
not.
I do.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I've got a hard copy. Chair would entertain a motion for signing the warranty deed.
I move we sign the warranty deed for the Big E Ranch.
Thank you, sir.
I'll go ahead and second it.
Been moved and seconded to sign the warranty deed by and between Custer County and Big E Ranch Limited, a limited liability partnership out of Dallas, Texas. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. As stated by council, I'd been given authorization earlier by the Board of County Commissioners to be the signatory, so I had just signed that. We'll give that back to council. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate your work on doing that.
And that's fine. Let's see, what else was I going to say on this?
Did you happen to do a transfer declaration on that too? That goes to JD. I've got one in my office that we can just fill out.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. I thought it just came through like any other deeds.
Yeah.
But we'll get that to you. And the fee is going to be the $639. That's just the cost of the title insurance policy itself. No closing costs involved in this.
I would assume that'll come out of capital improvement. I'll talk to Donna, or you can if you.
I am not. She was aware. She's already, aware that that's coming in and is prepared to write the check immediately.
Yeah, I just did not have that conversation with her about what account.
Okay.
Before you move on, thank you for saving the county that extra money by handling the closing.
Yes, that was nice. Thank you.
All right.
Wasn't sure you were capable. Apparently you were.
Thank you so much.
Well, I just wanted the chance to put this. I love this language. I put this after it says, the legal description. Uh-oh.
You hang up on
Nope.
it? He hung up on us.
You must have.
Well, I just.
You need to put the, put it back.
My favorite phrase I always like to, this is from, being in law for 50 years, because you don't see this anymore, but after the legal description, Bill doesn't
We're back.
miss this.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Okay. Say something so I make sure we got a connection, would you please?
Check, 1, 2.
Okay, we're good.
Just after the legal description, that little language in there, together with all and singular the hereditament and appurtenances thereto belonging or in any wise appertaining. I just love that. Because nobody knows what that means.
That's right.
Not even I do.
I know how to say it too.
Just anyone can
And
say
we're going to
that.
pay you big bucks for writing it, not for knowing what it means, correct?
Yeah,
hereditary.
unfortunately, I only had like one whereas in here. So. All right. I've been doing some research on two things. One is whether the county has any authority to seize property, real property that's used in illegal marijuana growing activities and have it forfeited through court proceedings. I can't find anything that will give the county the authority to do that. That sort of a procedure is up to the district attorney, and I saw Shannon come in, but I guess
Yeah, he just stepped out.
all right, well, I am thinking, and I'm not sure, I know that there's been some problem getting the district attorney's office in this judicial district to take any action on these things. And I'd like to find out more from Shannon what the problem is, but possibly even invite the district attorney or sort of suggest it's a command performance to show up and talk about this, because with that property that's been involved in more than one illegal marijuana grow.
Right.
Seems like the kind of thing we should go after, but I don't have any authority to do it as a county attorney.
Do you think the DA would, if that's what she was so inclined to pursue, or not?
I honestly don't know. I know that in the past, and I'm going back quite a while now, there was a lot of abuse of that when they passed that law. And I know specifically from having been in Pueblo, the DA in Pueblo treated it. I mean, he got, and I'm not mentioning which name, there have been several different district attorneys over the years, but he got hundreds of thousands of dollars through forfeitures that was never turned over to the county. He kept it in a slush fund that was never, there was no accountability whatsoever, and he used it as his own sort of sandbox, playground to buy things for different, or he'd buy things for the police department or the sheriff's department, or send some of his deputies on seminars to Hawaii and everything else. So there was a lot of abuse of it, and I think they cracked down on it. It may be so difficult now that DAs are discouraged from even trying to do it. I'm not sure. That's why I'd like to hear what she has to say about it.
And I know you're not the DA, but it begs the question, do you have a slush fund as the county attorney that we should be concerned about?
Yeah, well, I tried to work out something out with Virginia and Donna.
It just didn't happen?
No.
Yeah, Shannon's back. So.
Okay. Well, I'll talk to Shannon about that. The other thing,
Can I just follow up?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
agree.
go
I
ahead.
think we could invite the DA up here for that very pointed discussion, have Sheriff Byerly involved in that, and if it can happen, I'm all in. If she says legally there's not a thing in the world I can do about it, we're talking about seizure and forfeiture.
She won't do it.
She won't do it.
You don't need to invite her.
Legally, could she do it, do you know?
She has to. She has to initiate it.
So she can do it. You're just saying she won't.
The only way we can seize that property, she has to initiate it. And has clearly said that she will not.
Did she give a reason?
Oh, we're back to politically correctness this morning. You don't want to do
No, I mean,
does she give a
I'm not
reason?
asking your opinion. I'm just asking, did she say I won't do it because she feels it's unconstitutional?
No, she
Or some other
says
reason?
that she won't do it because, as I recall, it's because it takes a considerable amount of time. She doesn't want to put this, she doesn't have, and therefore
It's a
doesn't want to
personal
dedicate
reason
staff.
why she doesn't want to follow.
No, that's not my personal
No,
reason.
no,
just
not
saying.
you. Yeah, I understand.
He's
Yeah,
saying
she
it's
just-
her
It's
reason.
her personal
Well, I
agenda
don't know
not
if
to
it's
do that.
because she, legitimately doesn't have the staff and the time to, because it does take some time. I mean, Clint could probably speak to it better than I, the amount of time it takes on a process like that.
Yeah.
And so,
We pay over $100,000 a year for DA services. I think we need to invite her here and let her tell us she won't do it. That's how I feel personally.
it's been a point of contention with all of the law enforcement heads in the judicial district for some time now, because we've had, not Custer County, but law enforcement agencies in the judicial district have had many opportunities to do seizures on property, not necessarily homes or properties, but cars and all kinds of stuff involved in drug arrests and raids, and none of that has come to fruition. And we think she could probably fund an entire position because she gets a portion of that as well.
Sure.
We think she could probably fund an entire position by doing that stuff, and just isn't interested in it.
I'd just go on the record saying I appreciate what you're saying, and I'm certain you know this from speaking with other agencies in other areas. I personally like her to hear her say to us,
I would like
I'm not
for her
doing
to
it.
tell you as well, and I would like to be here just to listen.
I would guess if we approve the financials for today, excluding the $9,312.29 check that we're going to send the office of the DA, we'd probably hear from her. So I don't know why we wouldn't be within our right, I know we are, to request a meeting for her to come up and have that conversation. My question to you, sir, was, in the legal world, it starts with the DA.
Yes, sir.
She would have the authority if she so
Absolutely.
chose. Okay.
By statute, she has to initiate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to agree with Jay and I think Tom as well. We have things that happen, and we need after action, after law enforcement action to clean up and finalize things. And you just can't have things hanging out there just because they don't have the time to mess with it. That's not an answer. Let's hear what she's got to say and see what other options there might be in her mind. Maybe there's other things pushing on her too. Let's find out.
Okay, good point. All right, we'll move on, sir. Anything else?
The other thing that I've been researching, and there's already been some negative comment about this, and I would just ask people to wait on it, because Jackie Hoppy talked about the possibility of a public nuisance ordinance, and immediately there was some outcry about that without anybody having any idea what might possibly be involved in that. I've just been looking at it. I think all Jackie was interested in was something that on properties that have so much trash and garbage and other things that they create a public health hazard, not just telling everybody they got to clean up their properties or anything else, but just on instances where there is a public health issue involved, because the commissioners do have the authority and the duty to protect the public health, safety, and welfare of the citizens. And she's had a few of these in the last 6 months or so where there have been some very serious public health issues. So I was looking at it in the context of something very limited that would give the county authority to step in on some very extreme cases, not trying to dictate to everybody every little thing, that because you do have the authority to regulate all kinds of things if you want to, but I was just looking at it that way. But I haven't really put anything together yet. I'm still looking at that, and I'll eventually have a memo for you all and tell you what your options might be on that, but until then, it's...
Well, I think the same thing applies, though, Clint. The DA somebody's going to have to get involved, so possibly.
Now, if it's an ordinance, well, yeah, the DA would be the one prosecuting it, but if we have an ordinance and if there's actually charges filed, the idea would be with an ordinance, and filing actual charges would be the absolute last resort. The whole idea behind it would be to provide a mechanism to force people to clean up some of the things that they've created in this county, and also to give the county its own remedy of going in and cleaning it up itself and then having a lien on the property. So there are different ways of pursuing it without filing charges, but that could be one aspect of it, where there could be a fine involved if somebody refuses to do that.
See, that's where she was, though, I think, because take that marijuana case, guy that owns the place in Florida, and what are we going to do? How do we, as a county, get a backhoe out there and clean it up, or condemn the property and sell it, or whatever? That's different. We need the ability to do that in some cases, but like you said, not to go out and just decide somebody's got a mess, and who dictates or who decides how one guy's mess is another guy's not health hazard.
And just one other, because this is just still in the research stage, it's not really something I'm ready to talk to you about with any substantive ideas. But one thing I should mention right now is that agricultural activities are excluded from this. So, if any rancher is worried that, his junkyard, which is his treasure yard,
scrap iron pile, yeah.
Yeah, and parts for, vehicles and everything else, I mean, those are not anything that are subject to this, and it's not something we'd be looking at. But I just wanted to say that. And also, I've been hearing from our favorite individual who is making more threats about filing things, and did in fact file one, but he's claiming that he has a whole bunch all ready to go, and the only thing that's holding him back right now is the government shutdown. And as soon as that's lifted, he's going to apparently file the same thing against the sheriff again that he's filed several times before. So we'll see if any of that comes to pass.
What is that?
Oh, there's a gentleman, actually doesn't even live in the county, has made a continued effort to file various civil claims.
Filed the same claim against Shannon, 3 or 4 times now?
Yeah, I've lost count.
Yeah.
It's 4 or 5, actually, I think.
But civil rights complaints that are all dismissed as being frivolous, and he turns right around and files the same thing again. And frankly, I almost would welcome another filing where we can jump in, because so far we've just sort of played by the book and submitted a response, a denial. I think, to me, it's time for the Civil Rights Commission to step up and say, we're not going to keep putting up with this guy, because he's filed hundreds of complaints against other political entities around the state. Right now, he's really focusing on the governor, because the governor won't grant him clemency for a felony conviction, and he's going to do something about that one too.
I've had personal conversations with business owners in the county that he has filed employment violation civil rights complaint, and they've never even met the gentleman. Never had an idea that he even wanted a job with him, and now he's got him in, trying to get him in court. So
he's one of that national team that does that sort of thing in almost every state.
Wow. Well, he's about to wear us out, and I agree with council that someday maybe we ought to
be proactive
instead of keep dealing with it. But anyway, all right. Anything else, sir?
No, that's
all right.
it.
Thank you. Administrative assistant items.
None.
Thank you for your work too, Counselor. Appreciate that. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for setting our phone deal up today too, Miss Brenda. Appreciate that. Public comment. Yes, sir.
Yeah. earth-shaking news. I've been researching 5G, the new cell phone system, and this kind of bleeds into the proposed broadband project.
Could you say who's speaking, Tom?
Oh, yeah, sorry, that was
Dallas.
my mistake. Dallas Anderson.
I'm sorry, Bill.
I should have asked.
I got an email from a company in Europe a couple days ago, and I can't pronounce the name of it. They are in process of installing their 5G in London and Brussels. They're saying that the 5G is going to be 20 times faster than 4G ever thought of being, and that its range is about half the distance. But the equipment is smaller, and they're hanging it on about every 15th telephone pole and powering it through induction off the power lines. Let's see, what else do I want to say about it? Anyway, it's quite interesting. They're saying that for the United States, 5G is a year or so away. AT&T and Verizon are both working on it as hard and fast as they can. And, in London, they are putting the 5G antennas under manhole covers. They're saying that the manhole cover is a good enough antenna to take care of something in the neighborhood of 8,000 to 10,000 users at the same time off the same antenna. That's how powerful 5G is going to be. So it makes me wonder about the broadband project. If it's going to be moot before it can really get started, if 5G is going to be here that quickly. Now they're claiming you can download a full-length movie in 10 seconds on your phone on 5G. So that may be some information that you can use as we go forward on that project. So,
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Other comment? Mr. John?
Hi, I'd like to piggyback on Dallas's comment there because I've been looking at that myself. And first, I got involved with AT&T here when they had that big outage in 2016. And had a hell of a time getting AT&T's attention. And since then, what has AT&T really done? They've had other similar outages and did some repairs. They have not added a tower. We still have that same tower. About a year ago, they moved it to LTE, 4G. Mm-hmm. How long had 4G been out before they went to 4G?
6 years.
6 years. So if you're 2 years away from 5G being a reality in metro areas, how long do you think it's going to be before we get 5G here?
Well, it may be quickly because, like they were saying, the equipment is so much smaller. They can
It still costs money.
Well, yeah, but
And they don't have a dime to spend here.
less than the cost is less also. But
And,
the ease of installation is hang it on a telephone pole.
There's small cells, mini cells. There's technology today that can bring 4G in all this area here with minimal labor, but they don't do it.
Yeah.
So, it's the same as with CenturyLink. They refused federal money in 2008 because they didn't want the government to control their business. And so that money was dictated for rural broadband and rural improvements. Never happened. And then we got CAF funds going in 2015 when they finally accepted some. And they put out a plan which has only a couple of years left on it, and maybe about 40% of the funding. Have they spent a dime here? No.
Doesn't look like it.
Doesn't look like it. And so, you know, I mean, to believe anybody from CenturyLink that in the next year or two, because I mean, I worked for them. I've done contracts for them. And the fact is that they, especially with their new management at level 3, who is now running CenturyLink, their focus is on businesses and their national fiber network. And I did a contract to look at certain cities where their fiber was going through, and so that they could then add their name into entering high-rise buildings in downtown St. Louis and in Kansas City and in Chicago and on and on and on. So the focus is no longer residential, and certainly not in dial tone. They're probably going to be filing within a year or so in some state, just like AT&T has and Verizon has, is they want dial tone to wither on the vine and no longer maintain it.
Yeah.
And that is terrible for here because we don't have the greatest cell service. And you're putting your life on this right here, and I don't. I have a landline, only that I know I can call and get him out, or the fire department. So 5G is the future, absolutely. But here, it's going to meet all the resistance that we have met for all this time. And I mean, it's great. I agree. It's going to do the job, but it's not going to do it here for a long, long time.
Yeah, it's a good point, Mr. John. And we had a little bit of discussion the other night at that meeting about Connect America funds, and they're looking at the possibility of committing that project using CAF monies instead of grant monies or whatever else they would go after. So we'll see how that pans out. But you're right. I mean, it all comes down to customer base.
Yep.
We are what we are. We're not London. We're not any other big metro where that they're going to get all the attention. It's a trickle down effect.
All those will prove the greatness in metro areas, but you know it's no biggie to put cell sites, mini or large, or underneath a manhole cover. Out here, it's tough.
How many manhole covers?
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say, we can count the manhole covers. Exactly right. Well, thank you both. Anything else for public comment?
I will say that they're supposed to break ground here in a couple weeks on the new AT&T tower.
Where?
I'm sorry.
That's just good.
Right behind the sheriff's office, between the sheriff's office and the EMS
AT&T
building.
is
We've already
having
signed the contract, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So, and they're telling us it will be completed by June 1,
Right.
if not sooner, but June 1 is the
Target
drop dead
completion date, yeah.
date.
Well, that's a good sign for you,
So-
Dallas.
But
A little hope, John, I mean,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
does not do the eastern half of the county.
No.
No, and it was not designed to.
not a lick.
That was never part of the conversation. We understood that, yeah.
I
Okay.
just want to throw that in.
Yeah.
We're still in a blank spot.
What we need is we need a Verizon tower.
Hey, Tom, you better clarify that a little better. That was for the emergency services,
Well,
so that they
FirstNet
understand
was-
that they-
FirstNet was part of the driver of that, yes. That's exactly right.
But it is a,
Certainly not the only reason they put a tower up. That was a commercial venture on AT&T's part. But yes, they one of their driving reasons was to deal with FirstNet, which is the alert service that the government contracted through AT&T. Good point, Commissioner Canada, thank you. But yeah, I think we signed that agreement knowing, this was my point in my response to Mr. Anderson, was that we were aware of what capabilities that tower was going to provide us and which ones it wasn't, and we never expected that to add additional coverage going east. So, okay, thank you. Anything else, public comment? All right, not, we'll move on. Unfinished business, Commissioner Kanda?
None.
Commissioner Prince?
No, sir.
Nor do I. We'll move on to new business. Public comment will be allowed on any items that we're going to vote on. First item of new business is reviewing the vouchers and approval, I'm assuming. So I know we received those hard copy here plus digital as well. Any questions or concerns? Yes.
I had no concerns on them. Normal.
Okay. Commissioner Prince, go ahead.
I did, sir. And it's probably just me not remembering, but Aztec Construction, $25,000 for road and bridge. What was that for? It's not Aztec, I'm sorry. TZAC.
Yeah, TZAC. That's for gravel. I'm trying to pull up my copy real quick.
That was for big rocks. It's for bedding the culvert that they put in.
The Grape Creek.
Yeah, Grape Creek culvert. May I look real quick?
Sure, it's right there.
Hermit.
Oh, 5/8 rock. Yeah, sorry. You're saying for the bedding of the Hermit Bridge project?
Yeah, that's what it was for. Yeah, I actually talked to Gary about it. He brought it up because they needed it because it's so swampy in there.
I knew they hauled a lot of material in there. I didn't realize that's what this was for.
Okay, I'm fine with it. It just jumped out at me and I wasn't sure what that was.
Okay, good.
So I'll go ahead and move that we approve the vouchers that were presented to us for December 2018.
I'll second the motion. It's been moved and seconded to approve the vouchers for December 2018. Further discussion? Public comment? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor? Well, before we do that, Commissioner Cannon, let me just throw this out. If this motion passes, Commissioner Prince and I will initial these. I would ask when you get back into town that you go swing by Donna's office and initial them as well. Could you do that?
Yeah, I sure will. I was going to suggest that. That's
Okay.
Good plan.
All right, perfect. Hearing no further discussion, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of approving the vouchers, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We will initial those and we'll get that process running this morning. Next item of business, vehicle lease approval for the sheriff. If you don't mind, sir, we can move ahead, but we're also going to have to initial these as we do. So I'm not trying to be rude. We can just
Kill two
move
birds
them
with
on.
one
That's
stone.
perfect. Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm up. Mr. Smith, how are you, sir?
Golly.
Mr. Prince?
Hello, sir. How are you, Sheriff?
I'm well. How are you, Kelly?
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Hey, let's hope that this is a sign of good things to come in 2019. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. I'm sorry?
Duck hunting weather or no?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it is? Okay.
All weather's
I don't know.
good.
Oh, it is? Okay. If it's cold.
Well, you're not at work then. It doesn't really matter.
All right.
So, gentlemen, this is basically just signing the lease that was approved in the 2019 or 18 budget.
Right.
That's all this is. It's the same as it's been for at least the last 3 years that I was in office, and we've done this. It's through First State Bank, keeping it local. 4.3% interest. Total loans $47,173.70. That's I have it broken down. Do you want me to tell you what it is? Okay. Well, maybe the general folks on it. So it's $39,425 for the vehicle. The 800 megahertz radio that goes in the vehicle is $3,710.70, and then the mobile radar for it is $4,038.
So the vehicle is $39,400.
Yeah, $39,400 for the vehicle.
We'd prefer you didn't get it with the radar. The citizens.
Yeah, citizens. Speaking of the citizens.
They don't.
The citizens.
No,
But they
it's
don't.
revenue. It's all about revenue.
Oh,
Maybe two radios.
No, it's not, and I do not agree with that comment. It has nothing to do with revenue. It has everything to do with traffic safety.
Okay. Public safety. Public safety.
Well, in turn, public safety through traffic safety. Yes, sir.
giving
With 4 fatalities this year. Actually, so I heard yesterday that the state patrol. So for years and years and years, so there is a specific slot for a state trooper in Westcliff to be housed in Westcliff to work out of Westcliff. That the state has had that for years.
Oh, yeah.
But it's never been filled because so it's out of Troop 2A, which is out of Canyon City, Florence area.
Right.
They have been down. I think they're down 4 or 5 troopers right now. But I heard yesterday that the State Patrol may make this a priority to fill this slot because of the traffic fatalities we've had this year and the number of just traffic crashes and everything going on, that they very may well put a trooper here that is here, as much as
Based on.
there's no such thing as I think as full time with the CSP because they're like every law enforcement agency across the country. They have a hard time recruiting. State Patrol's down 300 troopers, something like that. They can't find people that even will apply.
So Shannon, how's that fit with Rich Smith? He lives here, right?
Yeah, but he's not. But he isn't because he's the troop captain. So he's not. He doesn't fill the slot that's here in Westcliff because his role is out of Canyon City, Florence.
Okay, I got it. He just chose to live here. Huh?
Correct. Yeah.
Shannon, this vehicle that we're leasing, is that going to replace the vehicle or in addition to?
Yeah. So we're gonna take 1, possibly 2 vehicles out of our fleet. We basically what we do is it goes in the front and we move everything back. So we're going to take probably 2 vehicles that we have that we use as backups and deadline them. In fact, the one's already sitting at the shops.
Great. So I asked for a specific question. I mean, I know you kind of rotate them out as you need to. I've been having conversations with the coroner, Art Nordyke, and apparently the vehicle that he's using is
one that I deadlined a couple years ago.
Yeah, and it's now close to deceased. Is there a possibility that I'm sorry,
deceased?
That's why I said it.
Pun intended.
I just wanted you to know that we caught that.
Yeah, he's a wordsmith himself now.
I'm not as eloquent, but I can throw a few in occasionally. At any rate, so his deceased vehicle needs something to ride into the junkyard.
Yeah.
Is there? I know he's spoken with, or he's hoping to speak with. Search and Rescue may have a vehicle, and I didn't know if maybe there was something you had, because he needs a pickup with a long bed.
So the 2 vehicles that we would deadline, one of them, it's like a 2000 Dodge Durango, and then the other one is a 2002 Yukon. So they're both SUVs. The struggle we have is all the trucks that we drive are short beds because we don't want that long bed, and it's hard for him, and he doesn't really want to do his work out of a enclosed, Yukon where you have his client and
older deceased person.
And that's the challenge. I think ultimately, if he could get that vehicle from Search and Rescue, who I know they are wanting to get that out of their fleet, and I wrote a letter to support their grant to do that. So it's quite possible they'll get a grant for another vehicle, and then maybe he can inherit that or.
Excellent.
And I spoke to Cindy Howard about that last week, as well as Mr. Nordyke.
And the vehicle that you're taking out of service, you're just going to sell that as...
So I'm not going to sell it, no. But the county will sell it, absolutely, both of them. And I think the Durango, the air conditioner doesn't work in it, but other than that, we've kept pretty good care of it for what it is. I mean, it'd be good for somebody to just drive back and forth to work or something a little bit, but I think we could get a couple $1,000s. They're both 4-wheel drives. So, and then the Yukon, the thing is they both have 220 to 240,000 miles on them. So
they're pretty well used.
Yeah, but I mean, I think somebody would pay $1,500 at least for them. So the county should be able to recoup back, $3,000-$4,000.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many miles is on it, Shannon?
I can't tell you, but it's between 220 and 240. Yeah, they've got a lot of miles on them.
Yeah, that was going to be my question.
So I just need a signature to go back to the bank on this, just saying that yes, we're going to pay the loan off.
Yeah, and I spoke to Mrs. Russ the other day about this. Obviously, we haven't seen this ahead of time, but
And I will say this, gentlemen, I apologize that we're sitting here on December 31st and just now processing this. I ordered this vehicle February 14th.
Wow.
What?
February 14th. Here's my purchase order number right here.
A year later it shows up?
0214. Oh, trust me, I'm less than happy with. I'm exploring some other options for vehicle purchase next year.
Sounds like it. You need a motion to approve it?
Yes.
Is that through the state, Shannon?
No, it's through John Elway Chrysler Jeep out of Fort Collins, but they get state bids on vehicles, and so it is the state purchase price. But I have a lead on possibly buying some vehicles through the federal program instead of the state program, and Sheriff Valdez in easy for you to say, Archuleta County. He was able to buy 3 vehicles for the price of 2 through the federal program, and so that's a pretty good discount. So I'm gonna explore that.
That's worth looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. If we can save $5,000, it's $5,000.
You bet.
Chair will entertain a motion.
I move that we authorize the approval of the Sheriff's Department leasing a vehicle as stated in the lease agreement with the First State Bank of Colorado.
I'll second the motion. It's been moved and seconded to authorize the signature or the signing of the lease purchase agreement with First State Bank. Discussion. I do have, sir, discussion. It appears upon cursory glance there's 2 page 2s. One has a dollar amount for the rent in it and one does not.
Then this one will go
One
away.
of
This
those goes
I just grabbed. Miss Rusk handed it to me this morning, and I brought it to
You
you.
want to give that a quick glance, sir? Whoops. Yeah, we had a second page 2, Commissioner Canada, that did not have a dollar amount in it, and that had been corrected, but that page just had not been taken out of the document.
Yeah.
Sheriff Byerly just took that extra page out, and I'll toss it if you want. So we do have a completed document. Counselors looking at that. I think it's relatively standard.
It's almost exactly the same as the last couple of years, just the dollar number changes, depending on the total.
So it is the form that you used with the bank?
Yes, sir.
Because I'm good, but I'm not good enough to read a whole
Yeah,
page.
and I spoke to Wendy Rusk about it as well.
Yeah.
She asked if we were going to do that today, and I told her I thought we would.
Is this their form?
It is.
Further discussion, Commissioner Kanda?
None. Sounds good.
Okay, Commissioner Prince?
Good.
Public comment?
Signature page.
Very end, I thought.
Very,
Unless I
it's the
got 'em
second
out
from
of-
the end. That's
I
just,
get 'em
I
out
think,
of
a
the-
description of the vehicle.
Oh, there it is.
Public comment? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of signing the lease agreement with First State Bank, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Let me sign that real quick, and we can...
I'll take it back to her today, and I've already spoken with Miss Hobby on how the bank will pay the county, and then the county will return 3 vouchers to the different vendors.
And can you get me a copy of that?
I can do that.
What's a constable? Is constable the same as a
No,
sheriff?
no. It's a little different. Where's the constable? Where do you see that at?
On the phone, I'll bet there's a time.
Oh, there might be, yeah, I don't know.
Well, I don't know why there would be.
One question or just comment that I would make this week.
Hello, sir. Are you back? Nope, we just ended him.
Oh, gosh, I'm sorry.
You still there?
I thought I turned it off before I turned it back on.
Yeah. Hello?
Apologize.
Did he hang up?
I can see the headline now.
I wonder who's going to get blamed for that. Oh, yeah, that'd be...
I accept the blame.
Sorry, go ahead, sir.
I
Sorry
just-
for the interruption.
One comment question I have.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
AT&T's not cooperating.
That's right. It's AT&T.
That's a fact.
Just change my name to AT&T and we'll be fine.
Commissioner Prince thought you were turned off, and he thought he was turning you on. And, I mean, he thought he was turning the speaker on. Sorry.
Yeah, right.
But you're back now, sir. Thank you for calling us back. All right. We were just finishing up. Sheriff Farley had a comment.
So I just casually mentioned this to Tom on Thursday, I believe it was. Just a question, and that is, so at the end of the year here, I'm going to have $40-some thousand, and that's before everything's reconciled. So I'm going to have $40-some thousand left over my budget, which is actually one of the lower numbers for the years that we've been here. And my question was, what happens with that money? And my comment is this, is that unless it puts the county at some liability or the county has to use that money somewhere, why is it we aren't taking that leftover money that's already been budgeted for that year and putting it towards like these vehicle leases or where so that we can pay the vehicles off quicker, saves us some interest, saves future expenses. I don't know the answer to that. I'm certainly not the financial guru for the county, but I think that's something that we should at least think about. Now, I don't know, maybe that money goes into...
Let me speak to that.
Okay.
Because I did some research after our conversation. I spoke with Mrs. Hobby, our financial officer. Certainly it's the commissioner's decision what to do with that money. In 2019, we are already in arrears on general fund as an individual balance. If we were to take that money and expend it on future lease payments, then it drives us another, let's say for your example, drives us another $40,000 in deficit on that.
Okay, and that was just my question.
Ms. Donna said certainly it's up to the commissioners to decide if that's what you want to do or not. But she said if you did that, in essence, you're driving that fund deeper in debt to that tune of whatever that is.
Because then what, that money comes out of the reserves?
Yes.
Okay.
And IT had the same situation. Came to us and said, got money left over. Should I be trying to spend it or not? And I said, well, if you do try to spend it, you're just driving the general fund further in debt.
Okay. So. Okay. I was just curious because I know just in the last 3 or 4 years, I mean, I've probably had $250,000 left over total. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know what the number is. I'm guessing, but it's probably pretty good. It's well over $100,000, and that would just reduce that. So, anyways, thank you.
Right.
Hey, Shannon.
Yes, sir. Happy New Year.
Good news on that point is that if all things being equal and we didn't have a deficit, everybody has an opportunity. It should be spent wisely, and if it and prioritize whatever our needs are in different funds, and it certainly could be used for paying off a car early.
Yeah.
You know, so keep on top of it. And we're making sure that we've changed our modus operandi on how we execute these budgets. So we're going to keep our eye on how each fund is spending. And as long as we can see that there's going to be a surplus at the end of the year, we definitely want to make sure it's spent the way that it was raised to be spent on, and to spend it on a car is certainly one of them.
Yeah, okay, I appreciate that.
Today.
Thanks, Mr. Candy. You have a Happy New Year.
Yep, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you and yours.
Thank you, sir.
You be around, Sheriff Farley? I'll call you later.
Okay.
Okay.
All
All right.
thanks.
Thank you.
Happy
Appreciate
New Year,
it.
everybody.
You bet.
Enjoy the snow.
Shall we take a 30-minute break?
Yeah.
She didn't hear you.
No, she didn't hear me. My timing's terrible. Morning, Mike.
So we on a break?
No, I was teasing. We're 30-minute break. Are you okay with that, Mr. Kanda? No, she's still not listening. I'm trying to get Miss Lockhart, but she's too busy job boning out there. Good morning. We were just getting ready to go on a 30-minute break. You okay with that, or?
I don't care.
No, that's right. You're down the hall. It doesn't matter. Good morning.
What you do. No, I do care what you do. I take that back.
Commissioner Kanda is joining us via telephone today. Miss Lockhart.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Happy
Welcome.
New Year.
When I
How are you? Go ahead.
Okay, I just have my I have 3 contracts. This is my legal service contract, and it's been signed by me and the attorney, but it needs a signature from you guys.
Okay.
And then I have my bookkeeping one too, which has been signed by me and the bookkeeper, but I need that. And then I have this contract. This is our MOU that we have with Prioris County to do our hotline. Because they've been doing that for us. We did it last
Right.
year, and and that's so helpful.
document.
And so they sent me a new contract. It's basically the same contract. We just need to renew it for this year. Okay? So I got it, and they're going, now if you can have that done by the 1st, well, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have that. Those are the 3 that I need to have signed.
Okay.
And did you look them over, Clint?
I haven't seen them this time, but they're the same ones. that
They
we
are.
do
They're
every
the same
year.
ones we do every year. I sent them to these guys so they would have them ahead of time. Hello, Kel. And I just,
And
but
maybe
the-
they were here and I just didn't.
I don't know. I brought them on Friday because I got it on Thursday or whatever day that was, and we sent them to you guys.
Right.
I'll go ahead and I'll move that we approve the 3 documents presented to us this morning by Department of Human Services. The first is a memorandum of understanding between Custer County and Prowers County. The legal services contract between Department of Human Services and Attorney Gregory Watson, I'm sorry.
Watkins.
Watkins. I apologize, I make that mistake every time. And the third one is the special project, the contract with Mr. John Paquette for accounting services.
I second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the memorandum of understanding contract, the memorandum of understanding, legal services contract and the bookkeeping contract. Discussion. I will support this 100% if you can tell me every acronym used in that MOU. My God.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to look at it
Oh,
again,
I
but
read
I don't
that.
know.
I said, okay, I'm gonna read this whole thing, word for word.
No, I'd have to look at
Yeah,
it again
it
because
is
I don't know.
insane. I had to keep going back, the HCCC and
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so
Yes.
discussion, Commissioner Kanda.
Nope, I'm good with it.
Okay, all right. Further discussion, public comment. Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of approving the 3 documents for Department of Human Services, say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries. We will sign said documents.
We were at a hotline training and hotline red team training, and they were using an acronym, kind of something like that. And I'm like, what in the world? And somebody in the room goes, well, what does that even stand for? And then they said, and I'm like, oh, sure, okay. But yeah, when they just start tossing those things out and you're not thinking of that, you're like, what?
Those are members of the Board of County Commissioners' signature lines, I'm assuming.
Yes.
And do you need commissioners?
No, no, it'll be okay with that, yes. And this one, I think just needs your signature.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Did you sign that again just now?
I will, if you like. I saw the other
Okay, yeah. I just didn't see you. I was looking at it.
Oh, he was quick.
Can you bring me coffee?
No?
Thank you.
Okay.
Did you catch that?
Yes, I did, and I think I remember some other carryings on
About
she
this,
had
too.
towards you and your person. Anything else we can do for you to make the rest of your year enjoyable?
Oh, the rest of my year?
Yes.
Yeah, no.
No.
No, I think not.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you. for
Thank you.
coming in.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Happy New Year.
You all have a happy new year. Step 2.
One of the
Potted
I
plant.
don't
One of
know.
the plant, please.
I don't know. I got
Water the plant.
yeah. Remember, it's to my left. To my left.
Not sure of your exact circumstances, Commissioner Kanda, but with general consent, we'd like to take about a 3 or 4 minute break.
I'll support that.
All right, sir. So the meeting will stand in recess.
3 or 4 minutes.
3 or 4 minutes, and it's 25 after. The meeting back to order. We will move on. Next item of business on the agenda is the final adoption for ordinance 18-01. I would ask council to take the lead on that if he would so choose.
I need a copy of it because I have to read it again, so thank you.
You bet. So this will be the second and final reading, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, ordinance number 18-01, an ordinance of Custer County, a political subdivision of the state of Colorado, making it unlawful to tamper with, deface, or otherwise damage property belonging to the county of Custer or to other governmental entities also designated as political subdivisions of the state of Colorado, and providing penalties for such unlawful conduct. Be it ordained by the Board of County Commissioners of Custer County, a political subdivision of the state of Colorado, that whereas Section 30-11-101, subparagraph 2, Colorado Revised Statutes gives the Board of County Commissioners the authority to adopt and enforce ordinances regarding health, safety, and welfare issues, and to provide penalties for the violation of same. And whereas counties, municipalities, and special districts are classified as political subdivisions pursuant to the laws of the state of Colorado, Custer County is a political subdivision, the towns of Silver Cliff and Westcliff are political subdivisions, and the Custer County School District, the Wet Mountain Fire Protection District, the West Custer County Library District, the West Custer County Hospital District, and the Round Mountain Water and Sanitation District are all political subdivisions of the state of Colorado. And whereas the Board of County Commissioners for Custer County has determined that the protection of property belonging to all political subdivisions, whether located in the incorporated areas of the above-named towns or within the unincorporated areas of the county, is a matter of concern to the citizens of the county whose taxes pay for said property, and that a county ordinance should be adopted making it unlawful to cause harm to such property or to trespass upon the premises where such property may be located, and to provide penalties for such unlawful behavior. Now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners declares as follows. This ordinance, number 18-01, shall be known and may be cited as the Tampering with Public Property Ordinance. Part 1, definitions. For purposes of this ordinance number 18-01, the following definitions shall apply. Public property means anything of value owned by a political subdivision of Custer County, which is located within the boundaries of said county and includes things of value located within the incorporated limits of the towns of Silver Cliff and Westcliff. Tamper means to interfere with something improperly, to meddle with it, or to make unwarranted and/or unauthorized alterations in its condition. Damage means to cause physical harm to something in such a way as to impair its value, usefulness, or normal function. Deface means to alter the appearance of something by removing, distorting, marring, adding to, or covering all or part of a thing. Part 2, unlawful acts. Section 1. It shall be unlawful for any person to tamper with, deface, or otherwise damage public property physically located within the county of Custer and belonging to a political subdivision of the state of Colorado. Section 2, if public property as defined in this ordinance 18-01 is located on premises that are fenced or are otherwise enclosed in a manner designed to discourage unauthorized persons to enter onto said premises, and if signage is conspicuously posted on said premises making specific reference to this ordinance 18-01 and stating that entry thereon is prohibited, then it shall be unlawful for a person to enter onto said premises without proper authorization from the political subdivision that owns the public property located thereon. Part 3, Penalties, Section 1. Any person who commits a violation of Part 2, Section 1 of this ordinance commits a Class 2 petty offense under Section 30-15-402, subparagraph 1, Colorado Revised Statutes, and upon conviction thereof shall be punished by a fine as follows. Subparagraph A, $200 if the dollar amount of the damage is less than $500. Subparagraph B, $500 if the dollar amount of the damage is $500 or more but less than $2,000. Subparagraph C, $1,000 if the dollar amount of the damage is $2,000 or more. In addition to the imposition, at subparagraph D, in addition to the imposition of a fine, the convicted person shall be ordered to pay restitution to the political subdivision. Section 2, any person who commits a violation of Part 2, Section 2 of this ordinance, 18-01, commits a Class 2 petty offense under Section 30-15-402, subparagraph 1, Colorado Revised Statutes, and upon conviction thereof shall be punished by a fine of $250. Section 3, the penalty assessment procedure set forth in Section 16-2-201 Colorado Revised Statutes shall be followed by law enforcement officers charged with enforcement of this ordinance. Section 4, all fines assessed for violations of this ordinance shall be paid to the treasurer of Custer County. All revenues generated through the payment of such fines shall be paid into the general fund and shall be allocated as follows. 50% to the political subdivision whose property was damaged or was subject to an unlawful entry, and 50% to the Custer County General Fund. Section 5, a person convicted of a violation of Section 1 or Section 2 of Part 1 of this ordinance shall be subject to a surcharge of $10 pursuant to Section 30-15-402, subparagraph 1, Colorado Revised Statutes. I think it says Part 8. I don't think that should be Part 8.
Let me look here.
It should be Part 4.
Part 4, actually.
Okay, that will need to be corrected.
Okay.
Effective date. This ordinance shall be effective immediately following adoption on second reading and shall apply to all violations occurring or committed on or after said date. Introduced, read, and adopted on first reading on the 5th day of December 2018 and ordered published in the Sangre de Cristo Sentinel. And that was signed and done, and it was published, I think that same week. I forget the day. And then there's a place adopted on second and final reading on the 31st day of December 2018 and ordered published by reference to title only in the Sangre de Cristo Sentinel in the line for all commissioners to sign for it to be attested by Kelly. So we do need to change that.
Yeah, I just did and sent it to the printer,
Okay.
Brenda.
This printer doesn't print very well.
Oh, that's a good point.
So, make sure I get all the pages back.
Brother MFC, Brenda, is that the correct printer in the...
No, it's Xerox Clerks Xerox.
Treasures?
It might say
Yeah,
treasure on
but
it.
It does. I'll try that. Would you mind looking and see if it comes through? Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So if
Second
this
final
meets
reading.
with, if this meets with your approval, then we need a motion
Okay.
and a vote. And
I would move that we adopt ordinance 18-01, an ordinance otherwise to be known herein as the
right down
the wording tampering with public property ordinance. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to approve the ordinance, adopt the ordinance 18-01, tampering with public property ordinance after its second and final reading. Discussion, gentlemen?
Yeah, I got a couple of them. Hey, Clint, what
Yes.
are these misdemeanors? What is this?
Petty offense. A petty offense is punishable by fine only, no jail sentence.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. What happens if, if it's a habitual thing and it is vandalism? How do you escalate it? Because in effect, I don't think it will happen in our county necessarily, but you could have a protest of something and people are out there just beating the heck out of something for some reason. How does it become something that you can actually put some meat behind and throw them in the pokey?
Can't do it with this. If somebody is engaged in a course of conduct and we can determine that, there's always the option of filing under state charges under the state criminal code instead of under this ordinance, which does contain, and it could be up to a felony depending on if somebody does major damage to any sort of property belonging to any of these political subdivisions, it could be prosecuted as a felony instead.
Okay, and we could do that today, right? Without the ordinance.
Right, that's on the books now. This was to give the county some authority to proceed on things that perhaps the district attorney's office wouldn't be that interested in, but because they make the decision to file under the state criminal code. I mean, here, if the sheriff issues a citation for a violation of this ordinance, then the district attorney is obligated to prosecute it, and hopefully will. Although I know there have been a number of instances where the district attorney's office has declined to prosecute other ordinances where charges have been filed by the sheriff.
Yeah, you need to have you need the deterrence, that's for sure, and this would do it, but it sure wouldn't if the district attorney ignores it.
Well, and if the district attorney starts doing that, then I guess the same thing we talked about earlier. He may need to talk to the district attorney about doing the job that she was elected to do.
That's right.
Commissioner,
okay, that's all I had.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You bet.
I've read this a number of times, and it's just one small, it hit me last night, I would have brought up earlier. Under the definition, part 1, definitions, public property, means anything of value owned by a political subdivision. Then I'm thinking, well, what if we are leasing a vehicle? Owned to me means fee simple. So would we want to add or under direct control by a political subdivision so that if we have a leased vehicle, let's say we have a leased sheriff vehicle and someone intentionally mars it or somehow defaces it, spray paints something on it, means anything of value owned, would it include things that we don't fee simple own? Or should we add the words under the direct control? It's just a question. I'm not trying to create a problem.
Well, I think it's a good point because there is a distinct difference between ownership and leasing something. So, I mean, if we want to make that change, we can do so. We'd have to start over again with the first reading and second reading.
But we're responsible for it, though. So I think it would hold, wouldn't it?
And some of it will determine, or is based on the terms of the lease agreement of the particular item. If it's a vehicle leased by the sheriff, for example, because I know the sheriff is the one that's obligated to carry the insurance on it. So I think you can make a strong argument there's sufficient ownership interest in it to proceed under this ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I do too.
And I'm fine with it. It just jumped
That's a
at
good
me
point,
and it
yeah.
bothered me. So I'm comfortable. The council's comfortable.
Yeah, and then, good point, sir. I also had a question. I'm assuming the two municipalities have seen this as well.
I am not sure if they have or not. It's not trying to step on their toes at all.
Right. Because they're specifically named in here.
As political subdivisions.
Right.
But I'm not familiar with their codes, but I would assume Do you know if the town of Westcliff has something?
Westcliff has one, yes.
Okay, so it may be something where we would just defer if they want to handle it themselves, if they'd rather have it handled under the county ordinance. I think we could just cooperate on that.
Sure.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Further discussion, gentlemen? Public comment? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of adopting ordinance 18-01 to be known thenceforth tampering with public property ordinance, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Again, Commissioner Kanda, when you get back into town, would you get with Miss Kelly and provide your signature?
Yes, certainly will.
Okay. I'm assuming she'll hold it until then.
And this does need to be published again, just that bold type heading though, ordinance number 1801, and then the part up at the top, not the entire ordinance.
In, like was done the first time?
Yes, it was sent on,
Okay.
and we can get it
So
done
can you
for
do
this.
that, Brenda? Did you do that the first time? Publish it?
Did I publish it?
It should have been. I hope it was.
I don't know.
I'm like, trying to think. I did.
If you want to sign that and then hold it for Bill.
And so it needs to be published after Bill signs it.
That's what I was going to ask council. Shall we wait to publish until?
Well, he's
Bill signs
voted
it?
on it, and they're not publishing the actual signature, so just the fact that it's been approved and just publishing the...
I think you got a second page there to sign too. This is.
What page number is that?
This is introduced and adopted first reading.
Okay.
5th day. That's,
And this is final reading.
Yeah.
And you changed something, Tom, so if you could send that to me.
Yes. On its way, kiddo.
Thank you.
You bet. Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Got your reading exercise in for the day.
I did.
Nice. Next item of business is the liquor license for the lodge at San Isabel. Mrs. Kemper, defer to you.
okay, so this is the liquor license, their renewal for their 3-2, the beer that they sell off premises. Or they sell it there, but it's for use off premises. And we have their, I've got their application. I requested a sheriff's report and it came back good. I've got both checks, Department of Revenue for $117.50 and to the county for $15. And this is just their yearly renewal on that.
Okay.
To get the discussion going, I'll go ahead and move that we approve the liquor license for the lodge at San Isabel.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to approve the liquor license for the lodge at San Isabel. Discussion.
Just verify, Kelly, when you looked at this, for the record, they've complied with all the requirements and you're satisfied?
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
And then you just piqued my interest when you said to sell and use off-site,
Someone could buy a six-pack.
so they can take it out.
Yeah.
It's,
They have 2 liquor licenses. This one for their 3-2 stuff that they sell, and then their liquor license for that they serve at their restaurant.
so this specifically 3.2% beer off premises.
Right.
Further discussion? Hearing none. Public comment? Yes, sir.
Has there been any issues identified through this process because of liquor at that establishment?
No.
And
No, this is a sheriff's report. Indicates there has not been any.
And it's going to be specifically for 3.2 beer,
Yep.
which is basically on its way out because grocery stores are going to be able to sell others. So will we be doing this a year later for full strength beer?
Who knows?
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just thoughts.
Okay, good. All right, hearing no further comment, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of approving the liquor license for the Lodge at San Isabel, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. I'm assuming that the signature, you and I down here, correct?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Anything else, Ms. Kemper?
Nope.
All right, we'll move on. Transfer of funds. Clerk and Recorder's Office.
I have two.
Okay.
The first one is we need to transfer $6,000 from the surcharge fund to the county general fund, and this we did another one of these
Couple
4
months
months
ago,
ago,
yeah.
somewhere in there. It pays for the indexing that we're having done on all the old books that we had copied so that they're all becoming online. And so this pays for the outside people that are doing indexing. And it comes out of that surcharge fund that all of our surcharges from recordings go into.
Okay. You want to deal with them one at a time?
Yeah, might as well.
All right. I would move that we approve the transfer of $6,000 from the surcharge fund to the general fund, as Mrs. Kemper has described. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Wait for you, Al.
That's right. It's been moved and seconded to authorize the transfer of $6,000 from surcharge to general fund. Discussion?
Just a quick question, Kelly. How big is that surcharge fund?
There is probably, well, after this, there's probably 15,000 in there.
And how does it get funded?
Through the surcharge fees when people come in to file.
Yeah,
On the filing?
whenever you come in to record something like a deed or a loan or something like that, you pay $1. Actually, you pay $3 per document. $1 stays with the county, $2 goes to the state to be used for grants. And then we can use those funds to pay for stuff within recording. Like if I needed new computers or hardware, software, any of that, or to help with this doing the old books, it pays for that.
The general maintenance on your equipment is done by other funds?
No, it can be paid through this also. And through that $2 fund, but you can't apply for those grants until your dollar fund, county fund, is way down. And ours is not way down. So that's why I'm trying to spend it down a little.
Yeah, we need to keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Good. Further discussion? I had a chance to go in and visit with Lori while she was working on some of those big books. It's pretty amazing. We looked at the very first book of commissioner records. That was very interesting. And all that information handwritten in some of the most amazing penmanship, just incredible, from 1857 to 1875 is the ones we were looking at. And we also looked at the original census book that was done before this was actually a county, I think. I think it was 1857. But
Pretty interesting.
very interesting, yeah. Names of all people per household, their age, their country of origin, which we don't really think about that much anymore, you know, but there was a lot of history in there.
Yeah, there is.
History, so.
There is.
And John Naylor was county attorney back then.
Yeah, he probably was.
Yeah. And somebody actually asked me why we're paying an outside person to index these. There's actually two people that are doing that. And it's just because of the volume of it that has to be done. It would take Lori and Tricia, they'd be here till they were 100 years old trying to get it done, so.
Yeah, good. Public comment? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of approving the $6,000 transfer from surcharge to general fund, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. And what else, Mrs. Kemper?
Okay, so the next one is actually for Virginia, but she is not here today. She needs to transfer $100,000 from lieu of tax to county general, and this is to pay county general bills. Just kind of a
Okay.
end of the year.
And just so my vernacular is correct, county general and general funds the same.
Lieu of tax to
No,
county
but
general.
to
Oh.
county general.
To
Is county general and the general fund the same?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, good. All right.
I move we accept transferring the health funds to county general.
Okay. Go ahead. Just trying to move along. Yeah, I'll second the motion. Been moved and seconded to transfer $100,000 from payment in lieu of taxes account to general fund. Discussion?
Just want to verify this is a standard operating fund transfer. This is not an anomaly. It's not coming out of our reserves. I'm just making a comment that this is just a normal
Business
course
as
of
usual.
business.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Further discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, public comment?
Happens every year.
Yes, sir. We'll proceed to vote. All in favor of transferring $100,000 from PILT to the general fund, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you carrying that forward on Virginia's behalf.
Yep.
Okay, we will move on. Pardon?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, open the sealed bids for the legal publications. We will open those today and we will award those on the 8th of January. So today we're just opening and reading those. I'm assuming council has.
I do.
Okay.
I have the one here from the Sentinel. There's also was attached to it an email that was sent on December 28 to actually it's from George
Yeah,
Gramlich,
for correction.
and this is a correction. It's sent to Tom Flower and to Bill Kanda. Wasn't sent to Jay for some reason, but I will read this since it's a correction. I'll read the original bid first and then read the correction. December 7, 2018, to the Custer County Commissioners regarding the bid for statutory and non-statutory legal publication bids for 2019. Dear Commissioners, as per your bid request letter of December 5, 2018 for legal publication bid for 2019, the following is our bids according to your bid specifications for the three categories of notices. Excuse me. Legal notice or advertisement, 15 cents, and then in parentheses, he has 14 cents, so that's one of the things that's corrected. But the written word is 15 cents per line for the first insertion, and 13 cents in parentheses. It has 12 cents per line for subsequent insertions.
13 original.
13 is the written,
Okay.
number, and
Right.
12 is the numerical in parentheses. Privately supported legal notice or advertisement, 30 cents per line for all insertions. Publicly supported legal notice or advertisement, 15 cents, and again in parentheses, the number is 14 cents per line for the first insertion, and 13 cents, and again it's 12 cents in parentheses per line for subsequent insertions. Quoted rates are prorated as per statute for other column widths and type sizes. Of note in your bid letter, quote, bids will be considered based on price for the specifications cited herein, end quote. Also, please note that the Sentinel has run the county's legal notices in larger type than legally required for easier reading whenever possible at no cost to the county. We will continue to do so if awarded the bid. We sincerely appreciate the opportunity to bid on Custer County's legal publications and look forward to a great partnership. Signed, George Gramlich, Managing Editor, the Sangre de Cristo Sentinel. And in the email that was received says, Tom and Bill, just noticed some typos in our bid for 2019. Use the written bids in the bid letter, not the numeric ones. The numeric ones were from a draft, and I forgot to change them. Just like written checks, as per the UCC, or Uniform Commercial Code, the written numbers prevail if there is a discrepancy. So to confirm, legal notice or advertisement, 15 cents for first insertion and 13 cents for subsequent insertions. Privately supported legal notice or advertisement, 30 cents per insertion. Publicly supported legal notice or advertisement, 15 cents for first insertion and 13 cents for subsequent insertions. Sorry about the typos. George Gramlich, Managing Editor, the Sangre de Cristo Sentinel.
Okay.
And now I'm going to open the bid from Wet Mountain Tribune. Dated December 10, 2018. Board of County Commissioners. The Wet Mountain Tribune's bid for the 2018 legal publication per Colorado Revised Statute 24-70-101, and those requirements is as follows. Statutory, 9 cents per line. Non-statutory, and then it says non-statutory generally does not involve local taxpayers' money, 25 cents per line. Sincerely, Jordan Hedberg, owner of the Tribune. That's it. Any questions, or anybody want me to read the numbers again? Okay.
I guess I would ask for clarification on statutory and non-statutory. Are these apples and oranges, or are these apples and apples that we are comparing?
The statutory is the ones that the county is required to post. There are others that are paid for by the parties themselves in lawsuits and things like that the county is not required to post. So the low figures, the 15 cents and 13 cents, are ones that the county has to pay for.
And those would be comparable to Wet Mountain Tribune's 9 cents.
Yes.
Okay. And the 30 cent legal notice and the 25 non-statutory, is that?
That's the fees for other postings.
So those would
that
be
the
comparable.
Yeah, but
Just
the county,
different wording, but.
yes, but those aren't fees that the county pays.
Well, if the county doesn't pay those fees, why are we even considering those? I'm not clear.
Well, and I guess I'm not sure. Some of them, Virginia has to post certain things, especially matters of foreclosure and things like that. But those are generally paid for, then charged back to the attorney who's filing everything.
Got it. Okay. So she does it, but somebody else is going to eventually pay for it.
Yes.
So, help me understand then, Sentinel's written word bid of 15 cents is comparable to the statutory posting of 9 cents for Wet Mountain Tribune.
Yes, and that 9 cents is just a flat amount. There's no distinction between first insertion
Right,
or
okay.
subsequent insertion. It's just 9 cents.
And the 30-cent legal notice from Sentinel is comparable to the 25-cent non-statutory.
Yes.
Commissioner. Sorry, I was going to ask you if you heard and understood everything. We could do that during discussion as well, but are you okay to press forward?
Both were with per line, Clint.
Yes, those are both per line bids. Brenda went and snatched them away from me now, but I think that's what it said.
I scan them and I'll email them to you.
Okay. Could you just check on Wet Mountain Tribune on, say, their 9 cent statutory? Was that per line? Does it specifically say?
Per line.
Per line. Okay. So they're comparable, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Brenda, would you also send the email that I wasn't copied?
I just
Yes.
sent it to you.
And I included it in the scanned
Thank you.
Yeah,
version, so it's together.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I'm debating whether to open my mouth, but I would keep it shut. But it's very distasteful and it's wrong.
it is very much.
I would move that we accept the Wet Mountain Tribune's bid of 9 cent
No, I
statutory.
don't think we can.
Oh, that's right. This is only for.
This is
I
just.
We're just reading.
Thank you. That's right. I withdraw that. Thank you.
On January 8th
Yeah.
meeting is when you'll make the formal appointment.
Yeah, withdraw that. Thank you. Okay. So you're going to send those to each of the commissioners, Miss Brenda.
Yes,
Okay.
we already did.
All right. Anything else, Counselor?
No, that's all on this.
I apologize. I cart before the horse. Questions? Any further questions, Commissioner Kanda?
Nope, good with it.
Commissioner Prince?
Find it very clear.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on then. We will make an award on January the 8th. We'll move forward to the DOLA broadband grant extension. Obviously, we have.
I'm surprised that it was timeout.
Is there some way of setting
There's gotta be a setting.
It must be.
Commissioner, do you want us to come to the
I don't think that's necessary, but if it becomes that, I would certainly invite
Look
you.
way
Fair
too
enough.
comfortable to get up and move over.
Such a great chair today.
Okay, we're back in business.
It looked like it timed out at 37 that time.
Yeah, that was kind of strange. So I don't know. We are at item of new business under the DOLA broadband grant extension. You have provided us with a letter. I'm trying to find. There it is. That you drafted, Commissioner Canada. Is that correct?
That's correct, and it was drafted off of Christy Dolan's recommendation.
Christy Dune from DOLA.
June, I mean.
Okay. Okay, so in keeping with parliamentary procedure, Chair would entertain a motion.
I move we extend the timeline on the DOLA grant a year, and per the letter that's drafted.
Okay, is there a second?
I'm going to second it, but aren't we just requesting that they extend it? We're not actually extending it.
No, it's in a request to extend.
It's a request.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I second it.
Okay.
We're requesting that it's extended.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to send a letter to Christy Dune, Regional Director of DOLA, to request a one-year extension. Discussion.
I listened very carefully to the CDOT meeting we went to a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. And I'm somewhat still confused as to whether there'll be overlap or not overlap, or they're going to be independent, if in fact CDOT moves forward. And that's not known. Of course, we don't know if we're going to move forward based upon whether we're awarded the federal grant or not. So there's a lot of question marks.
Two different issues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And my first thought was, I'd really like to just move forward on our project. We've already voted on it, approved it, and we're just moving ahead without extending it. But then with the government shutdown, I realized this may be a while. We have no idea. It could be solved an hour ago, and we just don't know yet. So I think it makes very good sense to extend it a year. We'll also get better answers on what CDOT is going to do or not do, and we can find out what the scope of these two projects are going to be and make a better informed decision at that time. So I'm definitely in favor of this. I don't mean to just ramble, but
No, that's okay.
I just want to comment why I feel the way I do.
Yeah, Commissioner Canada, do you have a copy of that letter in front of you?
I do.
Okay.
Did you find it?
I have it, yes. I'm waiting for Commissioner Prince to pull it up. I just had a question on number 1, subparagraph C. Reads, on December 4, Trent Thompson was reinstated and our preliminary input for comment will be sent. His review by COB 17 December. None of that sentence makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, it was for his review. He was reinstated as our
Point of contact. Yeah.
Right, as our point of contact.
And will be sent to him for his review.
That's correct.
And pardon my ignorance, but what is COB?
Close of business.
Thank you. And I see we are now putting the
probably
day before the month.
From what I understand, Tom, they did send it to him. I don't know that he's reviewed it.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, sir.
Just a quick
Mr.
comment.
Prince.
Ms. Dune was very favorable to receive the letter. In fact, encouraged us strongly to send it. So I feel that DOLA is well on board with us on what we're trying to do. We also received a letter this morning from Charles Bogle from Economic Development, and we have two Economic Development here, also supporting the suggestion of postponing it for a year. So I think this makes perfectly good sense.
I wanted to follow up with what you said, and then I'll defer to these two gentlemen since they've been patiently sitting here all morning. It's my understanding, coming away from that meeting on the 20th, that these two projects may run parallel, but at this point not interwoven. That's kind of where I'm coming from. So with that, gentlemen, I would defer to you, as both of you as representatives of the Economic Development Company. Floor is yours.
Take it away.
I'm Dale Mullen, and I'll speak here this morning on behalf of Economic Development because Charles Bogle is unable to be here for the reasons that he communicated to you.
Yep.
Economic Development does support a request from Custer County to DOLA for an extension of the period of obtaining the matching funds for the $1 million state DOLA grant that was awarded. It is due to expire on the 31st of March of this year if we don't find a match by that time.
Right.
And so at the meeting that we all attended here at the bowling alley a few days ago, Greg Winkler, who is the broadband expert for DOLA, his comment, and I'm sure he spoke on behalf of Christie, was that he encouraged Custer County to submit a request for an extension of 1 year on obtaining the match for the $1 million match, period. He felt that anything other than that is commingling ideas that are not related in any way, shape, or form. So his exact words that came out of him is he encouraged a request for an extension. Some of that was because of the changeover in the governor, and as a result, all of the department heads across the state of Colorado will be rolling here on or about the 8th of January. So we support a letter from the county. We support a single focus letter that would encourage the extension and the extension only. And on the letter that we're discussing here, that was penned by Commissioner Kanda, we do not agree with paragraph 2 of that letter because it muddies the water and it's talking about something that is not related to in the current grant.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir. Rebuttal or comment on Mr. Mullins' comments, gentlemen?
All I'll add is this, it echoes what Jay just said also. In the last paragraph, it says, currently, we are not requesting a change in the scope of our award, period. So all this, and these were, all these ideas, these weren't something that I made up. It's something I had a discussion with Christy, and these are what she asked me to put in the letter. It was for Irv Halter's benefit, the director of DOLA, and that was the only reason. Everything, all subject given, was the reason it's in there. I don't have a problem with it. It's I think what we were requested to do.
Okay. Yeah, I would comment too, Commissioner Kanda, that I kind of agree. I think based on our conversations during the meeting, after the meeting, I spoke with Mr. Winkler before I left, and he kind of indicated the same thing. I wonder if we could not, if we'd be all right just deleting number 2 of this letter completely.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Commissioner Prince? Okay. Again, I wanted to reiterate too that when you say we want to, we're requesting a 12-month extension, that would be 12 months from effective April 1, 2019. So that was not in here specifically, I don't believe, and I don't know if it needs to be, but it's not a 1-year extension from now. It would be from March 31.
That's correct. That's the way that's the way it is interpreted and the way she had actually asked. So it's a 1-year extension from the date that it expired,
Okay.
which is contract by March 27th.
Okay, all right. Further discussion and public comment.
By the way, we do need to clean up that verbiage.
Number 2 or?
Number 1, section C.
COB.
Oh,
Delete 2 and clarify 1.
correct. If that's what you're talking about on clarification, you're talking about the COB?
Yes,
Are you okay with me just changing that to close of business?
sure. And that's understood. That's I should have put that in print.
Yeah, well, because it was capitalized, I mean, I just thought, oh, I'm way out of the loop, but I probably wouldn't have got it if it was lowercase too. So I just
That's good.
I just rewrote that to say that Trent Thompson was reinstated and our preliminary input for comment will be sent to him for his review by close of business 17
That's the way it should
December.
That's fact.
By 17 December, I'm not,
It's military December.
I know, but I mean this December, which is already gone, so do we delete that or?
This letter was she wanted it out as quick as she could, and at
Right.
that time he wasn't. It was 17th of December.
Why don't you just...
So just delete it and just put for his review?
Just, yeah.
Just
and
for his review.
Okay, that was what I was getting at. I get the military thing there, but
Looked like Dale might have had some input.
yeah, I will defer to that. So now reads on December 4, Trent Thompson was reinstated and our preliminary input for comment will be sent to him for his review.
Correct.
Once his review is complete and questions answered, the grant application will be officially entered into the EDA system. Are you gentlemen okay with those words?
Say that again.
The second sentence on number C, once his review is complete and the questions answered, the grant application will be officially entered into the EDA system.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's if he has no additional modifications.
Right.
We're okay with
Yeah,
that.
okay. And again, it's speakeasy between the groups, really. I mean,
Sure.
Christy's certainly going to understand this. Yes, Mr. John?
Yeah, I was just, John Genovese, I was just going to ask, is there, his deliverable is to put it into EDA system. Is there any review by BOCC, Economic Development, prior to entering in there? Is there any of that needed?
Prior to entering into the EDA system, yes, it's already kind of been done, right? I mean, that's in the process.
That's what they're in. That's what they do. They reinstate, and the preliminary review is sent to them for their review, and then he enters it
Okay.
Right.
after they've reviewed it.
Yes. Go ahead, sir.
I would suggest, since this letter is going to DOLA, and it may be read at various levels, executive levels within DOLA, that where it says 3 major issues were identified that would make funding not necessarily impossible, but difficult, because he never said it would be impossible, but it would be difficult. You might want to include the 3 issues that were pointed out to us. The first one was that we had to project an economic development impact for the $1 million federal investment in Custer County.
Okay.
Number
Can you
2.
hold on just a second, and I will do this as we go, if you're all right with that.
Okay.
Unless you want to, I just didn't,
Hey, Dale. The paragraph actually reads that they were sent in and worked. So I don't know if you want to muddy the water up with them. They were explained. It says these were worked out and completed by 31 August, so they were already submitted back to Trent.
I agree with Bill. I think he's saying that we've already accomplished what they asked
I'll
for.
pull my statement.
okay, all right, okay, good. Further discussion?
The other issue I would bring up here is that we're making an inference here about Trent Thompson. It does say that it was a medical leave of absence. It was. He wasn't really reinstated in the grand scheme of things. That has a connotation.
He just returned to his position.
He returned to work.
Yeah.
Okay, those are words that I got off of Charles's letter. Just put return.
Okay.
Right.
So, unless I missed it somewhere else, gentlemen, subparagraph D on December 4, Trent Thompson returned.
Returned to work.
And our preliminary input for comment was sent for
Was
his review.
contacted during the first meeting.
Return to work, period.
Okay,
New sentence, our preliminary input for comment.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's perfect.
bear with me just a second. Was sent to him, not will be, correct? Because now the timing's changed.
Right.
And then I may have missed the conversation on the second sentence in subparagraph 1D. Did you clean that up?
I did. Let me read that to you. On December 4, Trent Thompson returned to work. Our preliminary input for comment was sent to him for his review, period. Once his...
Okay, but I'm talking about item D, time to review comment.
that's E on my paper.
D
I
is in
don't have
Delta.
an A on mine.
E.
There's no E, Tom.
D is in Delta.
Oh. Okay.
Time to review.
Yeah.
Coming in.
So that's the second, third sentence, fourth sentence on D.
It starts the second sentence, starting of the second sentence there.
Okay.
Also potential government shutdown. That's not potential, that's real.
Okay, I think what happened when you started to dictate those 3 items, I was ready to type that in. I hit return, I think it brought into an
Oh,
E.
you lost it.
I'm back to sub-paragraph D. I'm not sure why this is even bolded, but mine is bolded, time to review, comment, and official submittal is
I would
uncertain.
just take the word potential and change it to the.
Yeah, I just take the government, you can say government shutdown on 21 December will impact processing the application.
Well,
could.
It may impact.
It may impact the better.
May impact, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
So let me back up, sir, because I was lost there for a minute.
Okay.
So would you start again on your concern about that, or did we just address it?
you just addressed.
Okay.
Well,
all
the
right.
first sentence there, I would agree that it doesn't need to be bolded.
Okay.
It should be just.
Yeah, I don't know that it's
Time
highlighted.
to
I mean,
review / comment and official submittal is uncertain. And that is true, but it also isn't true, because I can solve that on any given day, because Trent now has our corrections to everything that he presented, and there's been a discussion whether or not we just want to hit the go button, put it in the official pipeline before end of day today, so that it'll be in the government system, but we haven't decided to do that.
okay. Are you okay with leaving it as it is?
Just unbolded.
I did unbold it. I'm sorry.
I'm okay.
Yeah, it doesn't need to,
and I
it does not need to be
unitalicized it.
bolded.
I'm okay.
Okay. I meant the wording. Yeah. I did unitalicize and unbold that. All that being said, then do we want to, obviously this will go on letterhead for county and so on and so forth. Do we want to, gentlemen, do you want to look at this document with these changes in them? You want me to email this to you and wait? Are you prepared to vote today?
I'm
What's your-
prepared to vote today, and I'd authorize, well, let me do this, so we can discuss it.
Okay, yep.
I make a motion that we approve the letter to extend the,
Hey, Jay, start over, because I already moved to do that.
oh, did
I
you?
was gonna say, there's
We had a
already
motion? Sorry, I lost track too.
I apologize,
I got wrapped up in the editing and I forgot
Yeah.
that we had a
I got
motion.
gray hair,
Okay.
I earn every one of them, I apologize.
So we have a motion on the table to approve, and these changes we were working on came during the discussion of that motion.
That's right.
Okay, good. All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. So then I want to ask one other question, and it's certainly just format. Does number one, loss of our primary, does that have to be bolded and italicized?
I don't see anything wrong with it, but number one needs to be eliminated.
Right, because there is no number two.
Because there's only going to be that one section.
That's true, thank
And
you.
I feel that there's no need to bold that. It's just pointing out something that,
I agree with you, sir. Commissioner Kanda, you okay with unbold and
Yeah, the
unitalicized?
reason it was bolded before, there were two issues, and that all
Right.
this does for somebody is
Right.
get to the point.
Okay. So I unbolded it, unitalicized it,
Eliminate one.
and eliminated the number one parentheses. Yes, sir. So,
That works fine.
so the guts of the matter is, we, the Custer County Board of Commissioners, would like to request, or I would say just request a 1 year. Correct? I don't know that we would like in this. I mean, it's so.
Request is fine.
Yeah. Request a 1 year extension to our broadband tower grant to allow time for us to get under contract by March 27, 2020. Several issues have made this necessary.
Then you tick down through all four of them.
Right. Okay, we good there then? All right.
Well, hey, just 1 second. It is important to leave in the fact that Trent Thompson, I mean, doesn't have to have a number, but they are necessary, comma, loss of our blah, 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 blah. That was an impact because we sat for quite a while waiting for his response, and he never responded to anything.
Right. Which is really the first primary issue listed there, the loss of our primary EDA point of contact. So it's addressed first and foremost, but and a sentence of its own.
Yeah, that's the way to handle that. You bet.
Yeah. We okay with format, gentlemen?
and paragraph 2, the original paragraph 2 has been deleted.
Gone, deleted the entire thing. Yes,
We're
sir.
fine.
So I'm through from Dear Christie down to impact processing the application. So that's it.
And the signature is going to be your signature as Commissioner. Chairman.
We, the Custer County Board of Commissioners, so that would indicate that all three of us would sign that.
It isn't going to go out today then.
No, that was going to be another question. Do you guys feel an urgency?
Well, once we get into
Actually,
next week,
here's the deal. It's okay. Tom can sign it. We can, because all this states is that we did discuss it, and he's signing for us.
That's right.
And he's got a
Does that on a lot of things.
And I also think Christie was pretty explicit about we need it right away.
Oh, okay.
I
See,
was
I never got
concerned
that.
about waiting even till just today.
Wow.
And the
That's right. She wanted it yesterday.
Right.
Okay,
And the
Mr.
point of
Muller.
contact between DOLA and Custer County officially is the chairman of the commission.
True.
Right. And I'm fine with you signing it for us.
All right, that's fine. So we'll,
Get that out today.
yes, Ms. Brenda, you think that's possible?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Do you have, I'll send you this document that we've made the changes to. And if you can include a signatory line and letterhead would be great. Let me do that real quick, gentlemen, while we're, go ahead, sir.
Ms. Brenda, would you please send it to us again, just the final one, because I'm not sure I got all the changes.
And one final comment, we would request that you put a copy to the Charles Bogle Economic
Sure,
Development.
absolutely. You okay with that, Ms. Brenda?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I sent that to Miss Brenda and we'll move forward that. I'm leaving town this afternoon, but I'll make sure I sign that before I go.
Okay,
And it
thank
can
you,
go
sir.
in the mail today, I'm assuming. Okay, very good. Anything else pertaining to that extension? Commissioner Kander, you okay?
Yeah, it's fine, and just to be clear for public record as well, and we said this in a previous meeting, we're keeping our eye on this because it is a significant amount of money, and we want to make it sure that it works and it's right. And if something comes up technically, and this is we're doing exactly what we said we were. We're running these two programs in parallel. That being the broadband program as well as the fix for the outage on Wetmore, which might bring in a big fiber link into Westcliff, which could help us positively in this project as well. We'll consider that if and when it ever happens.
Okay, great. And we'll continue to reevaluate as new information becomes available. We may alter course.
That's right.
We'll just see how
That's
it all goes.
Very good. Before we move on to public comment, I want to back up a minute, check our records if you have this, Mrs. Camper. I think your motion, I don't know if it was a directive or a motion to write, that the commissioners write a letter to, I thought you said the Division II Water Court concerning the issue of the application.
That's what.
And is that how you have that recorded, ma'am? Did you make a note of that or not? Or is it just audio recording?
The Division II Water Court?
Well, here's what I had said.
Commissioner Prince made.
Right, if I remember correctly, and if I didn't, someone correct me, that I asked for you to send a email stating that we are looking at this and will vote whether to approve or disapprove of the process.
Augmentation plan. Application. You got it written down or not?
Yeah. We're done with the
Yes.
DOLA.
Yes.
No, we didn't vote on this, did we?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's right, we did have
vote
a...
on this and then.
Yeah, sorry, that's exactly right, thank you. So, if there's no further discussion on writing the letter for the broadband tower grant extension, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed nay. Motion carries. My apologies, gentlemen, I jumped the cog there. So we will move forward.
Bill, thanks for taking the lead on this. I think you did a good job. Thank you.
Tom, you were going to draft a letter for them to look at on?
Yeah, I didn't think your motion was an email, I thought it was drafted
Well,
letter.
it was to draft a letter for us to review, but we weren't approving anything. And then you were going to notify them that we were reviewing it and we would have a decision at the January 8th meeting.
Yeah, it wasn't in a motion.
Okay.
It was just, that's
Just
what
a
you were just
directive.
gonna, yeah.
I believe that's what.
So inform them that we will take under consideration our position on this application.
Right.
Was that your intent?
My suggestion would be, please don't take any action until our desires are conveyed to you as a vote by the commission.
the opportunity to state our position.
That'll be mustard.
And so I'll probably do that in a letter versus an email. And then we'll follow up after our January 8th meeting, huh? Was that the intent? Commissioner Canada, is that how you understood it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you for that clarification. Any further items of new business? Commissioner Canada?
None.
Commissioner Prince?
No, sir.
We'll move on to public comment. Yes, sir. Mr. John?
I have a couple of concerns on our overall telecommunications, and I was hoping to convey them at that December 20th meeting.
Hey, who's speaking again, John?
John Genovese. Hi, Bill.
Got it.
And I'm involved because I used to participate in Commissioner Katnig's communications committee. And it was twofold: to go after and maintain pressure on wireless communications, Verizon, AT&T, because of outages. It was involving the PSAP at the sheriff's office and get improvements there for 911. And it also was to solidify this valley's communications, basically CenturyLink's role in it. There's talk now of coming up the hardscrabble, and we still don't have CenturyLink doing anything really other than paying 40 people $100 a month.
Correct.
Which, in my years of being involved in telecommunications, that's unconscionable that CenturyLink has not provided any type of service for them. It sounds like they just want to wash their hands of them.
May I interject just
Sure.
so that we are on the same page here and the information is accurate, and anyone is welcome to correct me if I misspeak. CenturyLink has reached an agreement with, where their name just went, HughesNet, thank you, sir, with HughesNet to provide phone service, voice over internet, to those customers, and that CenturyLink will pay those customers $100 a month to go towards that and cover the cost of the entering the contract and getting out of that contract. It's a 2-year contract. So they're not paying. AT&T is providing the customers that are out of service $100 a month to offset the cost of HughesNet's services, which they estimated to be around $75 a month.
Okay.
And you understand the correction is CenturyLink.
CenturyLink,
Yes,
not
yes.
AT&T.
Did I say AT&T?
Yeah.
My apologies.
So here's the thing is that we've got CenturyLink that we've been trying to improve services here. Some main focal points were fiber diversity that would ensure that one single backhoe cut is not going to take our valley completely out of service. And there were two options that, and I need to know whether they've ever discussed this. One is the southern option. Fiber that goes to Gardner would continue to Walsenburg and provide a second path. The first path is Canyon City along Oak Creek Road into the central office here. Then the engineers talked about another path option going north along the highway, either straight to Texas Creek or cut off 1A to Cotopaxi and then find a way that way. I'm not sure that at this moment in time we have any secondary survivable route. Do you know?
No.
Okay. I would ask that next time any of you commissioners have meetings with CenturyLink, that might be a key factor, because I mean, we only have 12 fibers feeding this valley, and 4 of them are holding our lifeline. 2 working, 2 protect pairs. 1 pair for working, 1 pair, and they're all in a bundle, 12 of them. That gets cut, we're dead. And if you thought the outages that AT&T had with their cell were something,
Yeah.
okay? So that would lose all internet, all voice traffic, and probably a lot of your cellular communications here. So I implore you to follow that. They had a couple of plans, just like they had an engineering job to upgrade the Rosita substation there. That plan has been around for a year and a half, and I've been asking on quarterly basis progress. The last one was, well, I had gotten one that said by the end of the year it'd be done. This is great. Now it's 2019, maybe 2020. This is why we've got to be careful with any kind of commitments to CenturyLink, because you have to hold them to it. And you listen to what their CFO said earlier this year. They're putting money where they have the greatest return. Well, that isn't here.
Right. And they've told us that. We've heard that for sure.
And so, since there's government funding, and they've used 60% of it and gotten 51% of their projects done using that, I think we're running out of time, because that money has a drop dead. I think 2022, 2021 for CAF 2 funding. So
2 more years.
about 2 more years. So it's one of those things that I've been after. When I was managing all the CenturyTel here before, I was after that. It was interesting. Was told we couldn't do it because we're CenturyTel, and to go to Walsenburg, that's Quest, and it's just too much bureaucracy. Well, guess what? They own it all now. Has it been done? It's far easier to plow fiber along Highway 69 than it is to come up 96. So, food for thought, that's all.
Thank you.
Yep, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Other comment from the public? All right, hearing none. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second that, Davey.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed nay. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.